number you have dialed is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this message in error, please hang up and try your call again. I'm playing. I'm here.
Oh. I was trying to think if there was a song that started that way. I couldn't think of one.
No, but listen. Hey, this is the last episode of season 1. I have ran out of phone related songs, so I
You made it
ended
a good.
it
You made
with a
it
bang.
good. What 20 conversations we've had?
19, as
19.
far as like 19. That
All
has
right,
to
so
be a
that's a
record
pretty good.
somewhere.
That's a good run, right?
I think so. I really do. I ain't doing it for the second season. I'm gonna tell you
It
that
got
right now.
it got us. It got us started,
It did.
and then we'll not morph into something else, but we'll turn it. We'll
See,
do something. Yeah, I don't know
we'll
what's the
see what
word.
season 2 brings us.
Right.
We got we got a few things, like I said, we've said previously, up our sleeves. So we'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, no, I'm not doing it. Listen, towards the end, my head was hurting, and I Googled songs. I tried to stick with songs that I at least was familiar with, and like towards the end, there's, because I'm sure there's quite a few songs that I hadn't touched, but I really didn't know them, and I wasn't trying to learn them like that. Like, I'm not.
Isn't it funny how like you can remember things or you know things until you need to know them? Because I swear, there in my mind, there's a group of songs that I've thought of that you would use that
Yeah,
you haven't used. Don't ask me what they are right now because I couldn't tell you. But I'm sure when we're listening to these songs, we're like, there's a lot of like songs about phone calls, and now when
Mhm.
you need to pull them out, where they go?
Somewhere, somewhere in the universe. But
That's what happens. That's what happens.
what's
Uh,
going on, friends? Like I said, is y'all, if y'all have come this far with us, we done did it. We stuck to our guns. We finished a whole, Beth, we've completed a entire season of podcasting.
I know, and thank you to everybody who is listening, question mark,
Right?
has listened, question mark. We don't really know who's all out there and who's all listening. So um
But we know y'all there.
we
I mean,
we
we do get some feedback to know that somebody listening to us.
and I think, I mean, so that to me is, I mean, if you have listened and you found us enjoyable enough to listen to, then a sincere thank you is in order.
Much so, yeah. Thank you guys. But like, it's not over. We're closing up the first season, and we've learned stuff along the way. We've made pointers, and I feel like we stayed true to what we wanted to do, though. So I'm appreciative about that. And like I said, and for the people who enjoyed it, who laughed, who disagreed at times, whether they
What are you
agreed or
talking
disagreed.
about?
Well,
Well, there was nothing really for
listen, this could be our episode. This could be our like most of the shows, they have that episode that's like the recap or the highlights. We've had some. Yeah, you've made your mark, Beth. Like, I feel like for those who don't know your
Why
mate,
me?
well, well, uh, well, to highlight. No, but it's so cool because I feel like for those who may only know you through the podcast, like I said, you've made your mark with them.
That
And
doesn't
it's
sound good, Dawn.
in a good way, but in a fun, like, they definitely want to go still toe to toe. You rub some, you stepped on some toes. You rub some shoulders
But not
too
because I was
harshly.
being hard. I mean, like, I don't feel like I was being harsh to anybody in particular. Just maybe a viewpoint or two of mine might not have gone over very well.
Yeah, we'll say that.
That's a good way to put it.
That's a good way to put it. But the things ain't over, and this could be our special episode. I feel like it's going to go down this road because I got my glass of Moscato right here. That's been
Ooh, nice.
been very chill. It was so chill. Like I set it in the freezer because I just wanted it to get cold quickly, and actually kind of forgot it was in there. So by then, it was in the freezer for a couple of hours. So when I popped the cork on it and poured it, it had like a little bit of slush in there. So I mean, it's
Ooh, yum.
yes, it's cold, cold, and I'm trying to reserve myself from drinking it and gulping it down. Like I ain't got no
Moscato is one of
sense
those that I could put a straw in the bottle
in the.
and drink it
Listen,
like a Sprite.
I was tempted, but it was a school night, so I was like, "Let me hold off." Um, but no, yeah, I feel like we were heading in a direction. Did you find out? And I know I didn't. And not to put you on the spot, did you find out any additional information on Brittany and Abby, the conjoined twins?
Honestly, I didn't.
Okay.
To no, I didn't go. I didn't know. I mean, I know I said I had questions.
Hmm.
I didn't go so far as to see if those questions had answers because honestly, I don't know if the questions that I have there are any published answers for those.
What? I'm so afraid to ask this, but
I
I'm gonna
mean,
go down that road. Beth, what
I just
questions
don't
did you
know how
have?
they. I wonder. I had questions about how they do things prior to one of them getting married. And so then that just like even doubled my questions as to how they do things even more so after they get married or after one of them gets married. Like, like last week,
I should have put that straw in that bottle. I know
like
it.
that. Listen, I have these wild thoughts, and they're maybe not necessarily thoughts that I should say out loud, but maybe other people have thought the same wild thoughts. I
Right.
don't know.
Right.
But like last week, you made the comment about like, I think we were talking about what if one doesn't like what if the other one does like, and
Yeah.
and and I could be mistaken, but for some reason in my mind, I thought that one of them um controlled like one side of the body and the other one controlled the other side of the body. But I thought it was like opposite. So say maybe if Brittany's oh, this sounds so weird, Dawn. If Brittany's head is on the right side of her body,
Hmm.
I thought that she controlled the left side though,
Okay.
and vice versa. If
Okay.
Abby's head was on the left side, I thought that she might, for some reason, that she controls the right side of the body.
Like the
So,
nerves are crossed or something?
but yeah, something like
So
that.
were you concerned about whose hand was holding
No,
the gentleman?
I was thinking like if Brittany did something that Abby didn't like, Brittany could then take her hand and slap Abby across the face.
Why did you just turn their life into the Looney Tunes? You shut up. No, you shut up.
But that's what I thought of. That's what my brain went to.
Oh.
Like like last week when we were talking about it, and I said, let me stop because I'm being sarcastic. Because I was like, what happens if I think you made the comment, or you made the maybe said something about like what happens if, or did I say it? I don't know. If somebody gets into an argument, what if like
No, yeah, that was me. I was like, as far as say, because let's like you said, we still don't know which one is technically married, but we'll just say Brittany, just as picking a side.
and they get right, and they
No
get
pun
into a
intended.
fight. Right.
But say Brittany gets into an argument with her husband, and the sister Abby is there, and say Abby agrees with the husband. Now it's just automatically 2 against 1.
And then what? And then I instantly thought, and then what if Abby then decides to take her hand and try to cover Brittany's mouth because she can?
I,
To keep her
I'm laughing.
from
I'm
stopping to
laughing
talk.
because I'm laughing because.
Or like hit her, slap her upside the head and be like, shut up.
But what if Abby could sense Brittany's about to slap her, so then she blocks her? It's just a struggle.
I
I
don't
feel
That's
like
what
I
I'm saying.
see.
That's what I have questions. These are questions that I have.
I don't. Well, and now listen. We always talking about doing any looking up anything, because now I'm gonna have to look up if it's been discussed before, like how they do operate, because there has to be some coordination. One can't. I want to run. I want to walk. Like working out would be horrible if you went to the gym.
Yeah. What happens if one's a gym rat and one's a not? So then you got some really one really buff butt cheek, one really buff quad, one really, like nice calf, and the other one says nah.
I'm not. Can't, Beth.
And I'm not trying to be like facetious. I'm not being like, I'm not trying to be any kind of smart or nothing. I'm serious. Like,
I know it pains
what
you to
do
know
they
these things.
do? I have an inquiring mind.
Yes.
So
I don't know. I don't. Ugh. Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
and
Though.
I wonder too about, like, I don't know what it means. I don't know. I know, like, they share. I think they share like organs, right?
Yeah, it's legit. I think one body, like they have one heart, one set of organ. Like, you know what I mean? It's not
Right. Just
double
like
of anything.
right.
Hmm.
Okay. How's that Moscato?
I'm listen. Can you hear my nostril air hitting the bottom of the glass? Because it's just it's so nice and crisp. I think like the colder it is, the more the crispness of a taste you have, and so it's just
Mhm.
like it's almost like biting into an apple or something. It's just
I had
wonderful.
I had some blueberry Moscato. Did I tell you
Mm,
about that?
no.
I found it at my Sam's Club.
Ooh,
Leave it to good old Sam's.
Sam's and Aldi's, boy. And guess what?
What?
I don't know if you see my Snapchat. Our Aldi's that's down the road from us got the liquor section. So now they have that Winking Owl and all the other wines and
So they didn't have it before. They didn't sell
no.
anything. Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay.
But it's there now. Chocolate wine, coconut
They've
wine.
waited. I mean, that's been a good minute. That store's
Yeah.
been there for a minute, and it took. I wonder what took them so long, but
I
good
wonder
on
too.
you.
Listen, well, now that the casino's open, they're like, listen, might as well
Oh,
turn into
I didn't know the casino was open. My mom told me about that the other day.
yeah, it
That's open. Oh yeah,
opened.
now they got to make it available because it's
And
like
it's
right
so
across the street area, kind of, isn't it?
right. It's in the same area. And what's crazy is me and my husband, we said we're going to try to take note. We've noticed for the most part, it seems that because there's one two like two gas stations at the corner like that's coming like off the highway. Um, on the weekend, the gas seems to go up. Now during the week, it'll lower, but we're going to see if we see a pattern of it
People
raising
coming
on the
in.
weekends.
Yeah, people coming in for the weekend to go
Right,
gambling, and
right. Because
sounds
I
about
was
right.
like, what in the world? I'm like, can they even do that? You know how I feel about the taxes and the government in America
Right.
already.
Yeah. You told us how you feel about America last week.
Mhm. As I finish the rest of my Moscato, don't mind me if I take a brief break to go refill my glass. However, so yeah, that was crazy, but yeah, I was so excited because, and it's like a nice little section in Aldi's, and like I said, I seen that Winking Owl. I was tempted, so I did buy a bottle. Now the Moscato that I'm sipping on this evening, we've been had that. Like my husband, even he was like, "How about we crack that open?" So, but the wine that I purchased from Aldi, and I had to buy a bottle. It's like I couldn't not just see it and post
Oh
it on my
no, yeah, you
Snapchat
gotta, like, yeah,
and
for
then like
sure, and then
not
not get it.
right. What's it called? Not patron. Oh, I can't even think of the word I'm looking
Patronize it.
for. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, what's it to like take a video? So I bought a bottle, and I think what I bought was It wasn't actually a sweet one. It was like a semi. I'm really trying to elevate my palate. Now I say that to preface what I'm about to say, as I think about what I'm about to share, it's hilarious. So, me and you, we've agreed we like the sweet. wines. Like we're not into dry or anything like that. But I was over our friend Alexis' house this past weekend. Alexis is like our little sister, and she's grown into liking more of the like the dries or
Right.
semi
Right.
dries, right? So she always has on hand a what do you say? Does she like? I think it's a Cabernet. So Cabernet is along the like the semi dry and stuff, right?
Right.
So when I was over a house, we ordered Jimmy John's. And while I was eating my Jimmy John sandwich, her and Carly opened up a bottle of Cabernet. And I seriously was just thirsty. Like the bread was starting to get caught up in my throat. I was like, man, just go ahead. Let me try this. And of course, Lex was giving me a hard time. She's like, don't be wasting my wine. Just like get a little bit of it. And so I poured myself some. Beth, would you know that the wine, the Cabernet, actually tasted good with my Jimmy John sandwich?
I can believe that because Cabernet isn't too dry yet. You know
I
what I
think, like I
mean?
said, I think it's a semi-dry, but what's crazy is, I mean, to the point that
It set it off a little bit.
it set it off, Beth. And I was just so surprised
What'd you
because,
get? Turkey
huh?
Tom?
No, I got
Was it Club Lulu?
the Vito, which is like the
Well,
smaller sandwich of the
and it's
Italian nightclub.
Italian-y, so that can make sense. Maybe
Listen,
you know.
it really did. I think so. And this was the comparison which I noticed. So while I was eating the sandwich, I was drinking this wine, and it was like I was enjoying it. It almost even had like a little. I could taste the sweetness in it. Right now, after I finished the sandwich, and I thought I was on a roll with this wine, I started to pop a couple of. She had these toasted coconut covered cashews. These
Toasted
suckers were
coconut covered
sweet.
cashews. Okay.
They have like a toffee crust on them almost. These were sweet, and it made the wine taste gross. So I feel like it was because they were so sweet, it brought out the bitterness of the wine. Whereas my sandwich that I had, it's meats, it's a cheese, it's nothing sweet. It's a savory item. So that enhanced the flavor. It was crazy because I went from loving it, and then I took a couple of pieces of cashew and was eating those, and then I took a sip of wine. I was like, oh, what it was it turned from being so enjoyable to so bitter. So I think, and then that made me remember that I had seen actually even a little chart, and you can Google it. My friends who like wines and who aren't, if you're having a lazy day where you're not trying to be bougie and fancy, there's these charts where it shows what potato chips to enjoy with different wines. It was
Huh.
like a potato chip
Interesting.
pairing chart. And so one that I remember that sticks out, it was like for like your dry reds or whatever, barbecue chips. I just for some reason I remember that one. I can't tell you the
Huh.
other ones, but and I think it's just because I had a Cabernet, which is like a red. It was saying like, that's the chip that you would enjoy with that. That would be pair with that. So a little, I
That's
don't know if it's a fun
interesting.
fact, but I don't know. So and maybe those who are more experienced have a little bit more insight on that. But I for sure the Cabernet with like something savory is really really good. So I'm gonna have to stick with that. And it was, in Cabernet, when it comes to wines, like I'm a whiskey drinker. I'm the grandpa of drinks drinker. I don't have to question what percent the alcohol is with wines, though. I'm always looking at the bottle, so the percent is always like high up on my list on if I'm gonna like it or if I want to drink it. So a Cabernet, being that it's dry, it has
It
a
has a
higher
higher,
percent.
yeah, higher
Right.
percentage for
So
sure.
it was like, there's like a 14% for which for wine is pretty
It's pretty high.
high.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, so in order for me to enjoy a Cabernet or things of such nature, I got to have me a hoagie or a sandwich. Or
That I first of all, now you make me want Jimmy John's. I love me some Jimmy John's, and now I want some.
it was so good. They hooked it. So I got like I said, they have like their originals and then they have their favorites, and usually the favorites are the double
Or
ingredients, right?
stacked, yeah.
So I usually like the Italian nightclub, the number 9. But I found myself, I don't know, as I'm getting older, my what I how I prefer certain foods is definitely changed a lot. So I used to knock back number nines like it was nobody's business. Like I can down in 5 minutes. But now it just seems like so much meat on it, and I don't like the bulkiness of the sandwich, so I get the slimmer version of it, the club, the excuse me, the number five, the Vito. But on there, I added some hot peppers and I forget the other addition that I added on there of how it comes, and it was just so good. It was a and that Jimmy John's bread, you know what I mean? Like you can't go
That's
wrong
what
with
it
it.
is. You know, you can get that separately. You can just go and get some bread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm a Club Lulu girl myself.
And what's the Club
Um,
Lulu?
it's turkey with bacon.
Oh yes, yep. I like
I love
those.
me a Club Lulu. And then every now and then I'm a roast beef person.
That's I think that's what Carly had. She had the bootleggers.
Yeah,
I
I
think it
love
is.
a roast beef.
Yeah. I don't. I'm not a huge. I'm not. Well, unless it's Arby's, and I'm getting me my.
Boo. Boo. Who eats
But
Arby's?
listen, well, back in the day, I thought only old people because you couldn't get me to go to Arby's
Absolutely
for
no.
nothing. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, you got to be 65 and retired with
Do they
pension
even
plan.
does
Uh,
everybody even know? I mean, is Arby's like a national chain? Oh, I guess they are because they have the
where
meats.
we have the
They are. They
meats,
have the meats.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness! Like, hello,
I
but
cannot get behind an Arby's to save my life.
no, but you just gotta try. First of all,
I can't.
they have some of the best jalapeno poppers.
Okay, that's not Arby's to me though. I
It
mean, it is, but it's not like
it
jalapeno
is.
poppers. Absolutely, mozzarella sticks can't go wrong.
They
A
have the
Jamocha shake. Okay, I'll
yes,
give them that.
yes.
Apple cherry turnovers all day. But
So
that's
there
not
you
the
go.
meats. That's not the meats.
But they
Arby
have the
says
meats.
nope.
They told you
Arby
what they
says they
got.
have the meats, but the meats don't get you in there. It's all the
Yes,
little one-offs that get you in there. The
no,
meats,
no. The
I don't know
meats
about
is
the
there.
meats.
Have you had their gyro? And I know you like a good gyro
Absolutely. Why would I do that? Absolutely not. Why would I have a euro from Arby's?
because it's good and it would change your life. I challenge you at some point, and when I'm after we
See, I would
close
go. I
down.
would go. Yep. But see, too bad we're
Listen,
going on hiatus right now because I would go have one this weekend and then report back to
no,
you
but
next week. But we'll
I'm
have
gonna
to.
make a note of it after we finish this. I'm gonna make a note, and that's gonna be one of the and I'll remind you before we start, recording again our podcast. I'm like, hey, make sure to get in a RB zero so you can give me your. I'm gonna make a note. I'm gonna document it so that you could try it at some point. But I'm serious. They have a legit gyro, and
What? Okay.
they have an option. Like when you go, of course, you can get like a roast beef one, or they have a lamb one, and
Well,
it's
that's not a gyro if it's roast
lit.
beef on pita
I'm
bread.
just letting you know, and our friends that
Okay.
are listening, Beth,
Okay. All
in
right.
case they're interested.
You're
But
right.
they have an option, and so
Okay.
but they have the lamb one too, and like the sauce that they have on there, the tzatziki, and legit with the onions, it's really really good. The bread is very soft. That pita bread that they use, you would be surprised. So
Okay.
there's
Just in
something.
case you don't know, I have my hand raised.
Okay, what Beth?
So my question is, do we trust that Arby's is really getting lamb, LAMB, and we're not getting lamb, LAM?
First of all, they already let you know they have the meats, Beth. So if they have LAMB
Okay. Okay.
mixed with probably some beef, but it's still. But now you
All
asking
right.
too many questions, Heifer. Just get
Okay. Okay. Now, what I was going to say, it's
okay.
been years. It's been several years since I had Robbie Arby's.
Oh, Robbie.
I don't know where that came from. I've
Who
never
is
had
Robbie?
Robbie.
Where
I've
where
never had
Robbie
Robbie.
come up in the
I've never had Robbie. I don't even know who he is.
right?
So,
So in case you was wondering, I ain't trying to talk to your man. I ain't never had Robbie. No.
all right. So back in the day, and I don't know how long it's been, they used to have what was called market fresh sandwiches.
Yes.
I don't know if they still have them. And
Yes.
I would I've had an Arby's Market Fresh sandwich, and I say that because I love lunch meat sandwiches. That's why I like a Jimmy John's. That's why I like a Jersey Mike's. That's
Okay.
why I like,
Yeah. Oh,
because I
Jersey
like
Mike's. I
because
had
I
that when I was in
like
Philly.
I like a lunch meat sandwich. And so when I went and pulled up, my husband at the time was very into Arby's, like the
Uh-huh.
Arby's roast beef, but I can't take the fact that he likes one very seriously because he has the palate of a 7.5-year-old. So that means nothing. But I went there and I saw the Market Fresh, so I thought I would try it
Yeah.
because I saw that it was on multi-grain bread
Mm-hmm.
and it had the lettuce and the tomato and it looked like a nice thick hearty sandwich. And I will say it was very tasty. However, I have not had one since because the last time I looked when I was going, and it's been years, like I said, the price of that sandwich was like $17. And I'm like, this is
What?
ridiculous. I could buy, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but
Okay. I
I'm
was
like,
about to
I
say,
can
where did
buy
you
a
get that at a
pound
rest stop?
of meat, the lettuce, the tomato, the bread, and make 17 sandwiches for $17. And so I refused to get the Market Fresh sandwich. So I don't know if they've got
Beth,
them still anymore or not.
I
Yes.
like I said, you must have got that like when you go to the rest stop while you're traveling, like how Burger King in the travel plaza or off the highway, a Whopper is $15 instead of the I think that's where you must have got a Market Fresh sandwich or seen
It
that
was
price
so
because
expensive, John. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
no. And I mean, I'm not sure. I know prices have raised since then, but they're still not it's nothing crazy. But I like their Market Fresh sandwiches too, and the bread that they use is really soft. Even for I'm not a multigrain person, but I know that's the bread that they had, and it was really good. It was tasty. And I don't know, but I'm just saying, give them a try. Again, I've had the gyro. Um, oh, when they get there, it's probably you would see it more so like summertime or whatever, or the fall when it's like Lent or something like that. They had their cornbread dipped fish or covered fish. That
Ooh,
was it was
interesting.
so
Cornbread dip fish.
yeah, it was so good. Or I not dipped. I
I
forget how they said it.
I need
Battered
to get
cornbread
over.
battered
Yeah,
fish.
I need to get over it because in my mind they probably have some good stuff, but all I can see is that pile of roast beef and squeezable
Cheddar
cheese
and
on
the
a.
red ranch.
I can't.
Hmm.
That to me seems like meh.
On an
I
onion
can't
bun. Oh my
on an onion
gosh.
bun.
Yes. Yes. Oh. On an onion Kaiser. Oh
I don't
yes.
know. I don't know
Hello.
about that, Dawn.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And then get their curly fries with their
No,
horsey
I love
sauce.
me some curly fries with the who sauce.
The horsey sauce, like the horseradish sauce. Oh,
Oh my.
well, the horsey
Oh,
sauce
okay,
ain't
Mr.
no.
Ed. I don't know. Okay.
I'm just saying. So,
I
like I
will get.
said,
I'll give it to you. I'll give that to you.
I'm telling you, and so in L, my husband, he likes anywhere we go. He's just a chicken driven guy. Like he rarely is like a red meat eater. Now he does enjoy steak from time to time. Um he had a steak for our anniversary dinner that just passed.
I was going to
So
ask you
like he'll
about that. Okay.
oh yeah, it was delicious. But so he'll have a steak, occasionally, but for the most part, if it's his choice, he will always go for like a chicken or a fish type of thing. So he's had the chicken sandwiches at Arby's, really likes them. Like I said, and then so what I was gonna say about the jalapeno poppers at Arby's and what sets them apart, it comes with that Bronco berry sauce. It's like a sweet
Spicy
some
jelly.
like yeah, I don't it's not even spicy because the jalapeno poppers got like a little bit of that kick. So it's like, but it just that berry jelly with the cream cheese and the jalapeno
Yeah, I
popper,
bet you
it's
that's
just
probably really good. I'll
oh
give it to them. I 100% like their mozzarella sticks and I would
yes.
100% give it to them for the sides.
With
Give
the
it to them for the
sads.
sides.
Remember
The
that?
sad,
The sads.
the sads.
So friends, funny story about that. It was the cutest thing when Beth's youngest, I mean, how old was she? Like
Probably 3 or
Four.
4. She said so
Yeah.
many funny things at 3 or 4. I can't
Yes,
even
she
remember.
did. Hilarious. This little smart heifer been smart since, like I said, since out the womb. So we were driving around, and Beth's mom was in the car with us, and we were actually in Indianapolis, and we had been riding around. We came to the point we wanted something to eat, and so we're driving around and we're calling out different restaurants that we're seeing. And so I don't, it wasn't a Popeye, it was more like a Church's or something.
Or something like that,
It
yeah.
was like a Church's, like what something that we didn't have here locally. And so Beth's mom, and she's not a Southern lady. I wouldn't consider your mom like Southern or
No, but
anything,
her
but like,
people's from Arkansas, so I mean, by default, she gets some of that from that.
okay, so she just says certain words with like a certain draw to it, and so she's like, "Ooh, Church's chicken. Now they got good sads like that." And so Beth's youngest being in the car, she's like, mommy, what are sads?
What
And
are
she said it,
sad?
she said it just how she heard her grandmother say it. So when it was, we lost it. What are sads? And to this day, I'm like, they got some good sads. Meaning sides, if y'all couldn't pick up on it, but like they had good sides. But being that she said it with that draw, they got good sads. So like now I'm like, some Popeyes, they got good sads. What did she say when y'all were traveling to, what was it, North Carolina?
Yeah, she said the funniest little things. She would say, like, she was like, first of all, we were driving to North Carolina. It was a 12-hour drive. It was just me and both of the girls to go see my friend Chris. And so it was like a 12-hour drive. And I thought I was kind of nervous about taking it, but I did it. I think my youngest was about 3, which meant my middle child, she would have been about, oh Lord, 7.
Okay.
And so we drove that whole time. And I remember I thought that I was already stressed about driving because you have to drive through the mountains and I had to go
Yeah.
through some tunnels. Like, what do you call
Oh.
those? Are those called tunnels, bridges?
Yeah.
Like
Tunnels through
tunnels or
the
whatever. You had to
mountains.
go through the tunnels to the mountains. I was a little bit nervous driving anyway, because I'm, weird like
Mm-hmm.
that. And this girl talked for 10 of the 12 hours. I'm not lying. And I thought, when is she gonna go to sleep? Oh my gosh, when is she gonna go to sleep? Oh my gosh, when is she gonna go to sleep? 10 out of the 12 hours was, hey mom, hey mom, hey mom, hey mom. And then at one point she said, hey mom, what's it mean when your feet start to sizzle? And I'm like, what? She's like, like when your feet sizzle. Her foot had fallen asleep from, I guess, the way she was sitting, and in her mind, it was her foot was sizzling like bacon, and she wanted to know what it meant when your foot started to sizzle. She was the cutest little thing. She was the cutest little thing. Some of the things that she said, some of the things
Listen,
that she
and
said.
and it was always sincere. It was always, I remember, so back in the day we all get together to work out, and we would do beach body. And first of all,
Dun,
she would
dun,
say
dun, dun,
that.
dun. Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Beach body. Okay, sorry.
And that was her part. So we always expected that. We always knew that she was good. And we would watch her too. And she had that little smile on her face and beach body. So we were, what was the girl's name?
Shailene.
Shailene. We
Turbo Jams, girl. That was my thing. Turbo Jams.
Turbo Jams was, I lost
Turbo
some weight doing
Jams.
Turbo Jams. No,
Girl, what you
no
know about
joke.
Turbo Jams?
I'm gonna have to look that back up and do some of them moves because we used to kill it. But
Turbo Jams. I'm doing the roundhouse right now, and then punch, punch, girl, Turbo Jams.
And the hopping back and forth and switch. So anyway, so we would
Sorry.
get together to do these Beachbody Turbo Jams DVDs. And now, of course, when we first started doing it, I couldn't breathe. I was fatigued 5 minutes into the DVD. So here's Beth's little one. Everyone, and it was like a nice group of us. Everyone's up there doing the DVDs. We're following along. So, and it was all right with Shailene. Shailene knew where we was coming from because she's like, all right, just keep moving. If you got to step it out. So, of course, I was the first one in the group. We had to step it out after 5 minutes. So, Beth's little one looking at me. Everyone else is still doing the moves. I kind of like step back and I'm like stepping in place. And she's like, Dawn, what's wrong? You can't do it? And then had the nerve to get up off the couch because she didn't watch this DVD so many times and know the movie. She's like, it's like this, and starts to do the exercise moves in front of me to taunt me and my condition and call me out in front of all my friends of, you can't do it? No, what's wrong? You can't do it? It's like this. Look at me. And starts doing it. Even then, I was like, sit down. Nobody asked you.
You know what, though? It's so funny because not in her defense, when you say that now, I think back about the fact that she picked up that, like, because, even though it's working out, it's all choreography. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do so much of it. She's a great dancer.
Oh, I bet.
She's a great dancer. So to me, now that we're talking about it and I'm thinking back, it makes total sense that she knew that routine and that dance. Do you remember when we came? I don't know if you were there one day when the girls were into Cheetah Girls.
Yes. Yes.
I don't. We
I
watched the Cheetah
remember
Girls. I think
sitting
it
on
was
the
Cheetah
couch.
Girls One World, and
yes,
we watched the show several times. The movie, it was and the music was good and everything in the movie, and
they
did the whole routine,
choreography.
she knew it from front to back.
Beth, I sat there on the couch as she flipped over me doing some of the stunts from the movie.
She picks up choreography so. I mean, she's grown now, but I'm saying she picks up choreography so well. She's a good dancer.
Well, but if you've been watching dance moves since the age of 2 and 3, it's going to come up to and telling people that they can't do it and watch me do it. Yeah. I would expect nothing less. So high five to you, little heifer, because I know you listen. And yes, I can do it now. Well, I can't do it now because, again, I'm back to being obese and overweight and out of shape. But let me learn it.
You'll be able to do it.
I'm gonna be able to do it. That's what matters. Okay, so while you're smiling, listening to this, I got you. I'll meet you on the dance floor. Challenge. No.
That's funny. He's good.
Oh man. Okay, so what else we got going on? Like I said, some highlights. So we talked about you rubbing people the wrong way with let's just say for what it is, your Taylor Swift comments and your thoughts on Taylor Swift.
Speaking of.
Oh no. Okay, you go ahead. Because when you said
I'm just saying, speaking of, she just dropped an album. And I know that was a little over the top. Sorry about that.
No, go ahead because I got something. Go ahead.
So I told you at work I don't know if I told you guys at work, but we do Trivia Tuesdays at work.
No, what kind of job you got?
Okay, so anyway, we
always get these. Hold on. No, pause. Hold on. No, pause. Because, friends, I'm going to talk to y'all right now. What I don't understand is Beth always gets these jobs that she's making bank, and this chick don't be doing nothing. They always have fun times. She always gets these positions. She had this one position working for a well-known construction company, right? I promise you they went on field trips. Y'all, what jobs and she was an executive assistant, right? You see the movies, executive assistants and stuff, people working for these big head honchos. They're sweating all the time, running around. They can't get their lives together. They're missing their family. Not Beth. I'll call Beth. Beth, where you at? Oh, you know what? We took a party bus to Indianapolis for a team building exercise. And then, they treated us to lunch and we had wine. We had a whiskey tasting. They offered for free piercings and tattoos and
whatever.
But if you didn't want that, you can get a manicure or pedicure. I don't get it. And so now they got Trivia Tuesdays.
Okay, what is Trivia Tuesday? That's nothing.
That means you ain't got to work. Are you working? Are you working during those times? I don't think so. You know how I feel about the government and the taxes in America, and here you are with a job that you get paid to do trivia. But I digress. Go ahead, tell us about Trivia Tuesdays.
Today's trivia was over Taylor Swift.
Oh Lord. Did you know some information?
I knew all of it except for one.
Oh my
Every
goodness.
single question they asked, I knew for one. And it was, how many Grammys has she won? I guess 15. The answer was 14.
Oh.
But there were some Swifties playing, so they knew everything. So I didn't win. I will say though, I won the trophy 3 times already. I won the trophy the first week there.
I was about to say, Beth, how are you winning? Listen, work. Who wins trophies at work? First of all, and you're too daggone competitive. How are you winning
Well,
3 trophies? You've only been working there 3 weeks. That's
I
ridiculous. Give somebody else a chance,
well,
Beth.
that's what she told me. She's like, I'm gonna have to. It sat on my desk for a minute. She's like, I'm gonna ask you. She said, technically, she said, you're not supposed to be able to win like 2 weeks in a row. He said, so what I'm going to do is ask you to help me with the questions for the next week. And that way it gives somebody else a chance to win the trophy.
Too daggone competitive. That's a shame when they got to give you a sidebar and be like, listen,
But it's not, I mean,
so
that's that.
listen,
I guess
listen.
those are the rules.
Susan over in accounting has had an issue about you winning so much. And so to make sure that she participates, we're going to have to ask you to just help out with the games and pass out the paper and pencil to everybody.
I,
You're too
I,
daggone competitive, Beth.
I was disappointed. Well, I was so disappointed in myself. I didn't want to do the Taylor Swift trivia. I didn't really want to know the Taylor Swift trivia. Why did I know the answers to the Taylor Swift trivia? Anyway, so it's funny. I thought to myself, that was just today. I thought to myself, like, we sit here and we've had these conversations about her, and I, question why things are the way they are in regards to her. And here I am, though. Here comes
Knowing
trivia.
the
But guess what?
info.
I know it. I knew it.
Mm,
Um.
mm.
Anyway, I didn't win though. I didn't win. But
Because you got
anyway, that
one
was funny.
question wrong. That's ridiculous, especially for somebody that don't care for the girl.
I didn't say. You're perpetuating the ignorance.
Beth, first of all, I'm leaning up on my phone, and when you said perpetuate, I can feel your breath through my phone, and I find that completely ridiculous. Because I felt like you spit on my upper lip when you said.
I'm sorry about that.
But listen,
You are
so like you said,
perpetuating the madness. I do
stop. I'm
not
wiping my cheeks.
dislike the
Yes, you do.
girl.
Ultimately, you do. But that's all right. That's going to be for the starting off season 2. We need some. We need to add some fuel to the
I don't
fire. Let it keep
dislike
it
the
burning.
girl. I just don't understand the hype. Is all
That
I'm
means,
saying.
AKA, you don't like the heifer, and you
No,
want.
because this is why I try to tell my daughters every time I say I don't like somebody, like, oh, you're such a hater. I said, why is me not loving something automatically equate to me being a hater?
Because the opposite of love is
But
hate. So if
it's
you don't love
no, the opposite.
it,
They say the opposite of love is indifference.
who says that, Beth?
I think that's the thing.
I think you're lying. What's this? What's this? Okay, whatever. Listen, but so like you said, she had an album drop, right? And I
Right.
know that only because I think I got a family member or something on Facebook who was like all excited that it happened, and so they posted about it. And then I guess this album that dropped
Yeah.
at 2 a.m.
She
or
did a
something,
second one. Yeah.
it had announced that it was a double album,
Right.
right? So now our other friend who listens, this is just an insight on just her thoughts about it, right? So she was listening to the album in her office, and I hear her pause it, and she is like, this album, she's like dropping a lot of f
F
bombs
bombs. She sure
in
does.
this
She
in
drops a
this in
lot of
this
F
like
bombs.
I in the on the album or whatever. And so she's like, I'm just I had to stop it. I'm taken back by it. And what I said and what I noticed is, and so our friend jokingly made the comment like, "Is that Travis Kelsey? She's been hanging around him
Of
and his
course, they're
brother, and
gonna
they
blame him.
they well, no, no, no." She said it jokingly. She's like, they curse like sailors. But I made the comment, I said, well, but her album, she recorded that before she got with him. You know
I
what I
think it's
mean?
like
Like,
2 years in the making, they said.
yeah, right. So that was already her past. So we were just joking about it. It was funny, but yeah, she was just like, oh no, it's that Travis Kelsey. But what I said was, I feel like what you're seeing is the influence that she's around, because I've noticed, aside from the Travis Kelsey and how he may even be, or his brother or whoever, her what's it like, the people that you like, when she's out in the news, or where if she's covered some, you see the group of people that's always her entourage. That's the word I was looking for. I feel like her entourage has changed up a little bit. Like when she first came out, when I think about Taylor Swift first coming out, her entourage, the way they looked just like some, like, cool people, like like now I feel like her, for the fact that she's hanging out with Ice Spice. I don't even know this little girl, little Annie. I call her the hood little Annie, right?
She
But
does look like the sun will come out tomorrow,
it
doesn't
does,
she?
yes, very much so.
Ah,
Yes, little Annie, little hood Annie. I feel like her entourage has changed, and so I feel like that has influenced her in some way. And it's crazy because like I said, if you just notice the people around her, you know what I mean, from the time she started up until now everyone, first it was like, just your average, like, I probably could have been some good friends of hers, like, I'm bringing them with me kind of deal, you're on the come up. And now, like, everyone looks like fashionistas, or like, they're I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like the atmosphere around her has changed, and so that's what you're seeing, and it's coming through. You know what I mean?
I, I've got my hand raised again.
Yes, Beth.
Okay. So oh man, oh man. So one thing I think that's different, like when she came out, she was a young girl, a young lady.
Mm-hmm.
She was in her preteens. So or teens, I should say.
Right.
So I imagine that as she's now, I mean, she is a grown woman now. Like, she is
Yeah.
well into her 30s. And I think that I don't give a care Taylor is where we are now.
Just
I'm
like all of them that started, the
I
Mileys and the.
assume that she has seen, being in that industry,
Mm-hmm.
she has seen a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
she has been through a lot, and it has probably, when you experience things, it changes your perspective and how you react in certain things like that. This is my thing, is I feel like a lot of her, and I could be wrong because I'm speaking once again out of the side of my neck because I'm not a Swiftie and I don't know how Swifties think and how they move. But in my mind, the Swifties hold her up on this pedestal, on this idol, like she is some kind of like perfect angel.
Yeah.
That's my perception. I don't think that she's that at all. And so I don't want to say fear, but my thoughts are that at some point, this girl, she can be as classy as she wants to be, or they can think that she's this classy chick, and and she
Right.
does kind of portray herself like that. But let's not get it twisted. I think she just reach billionaire status.
Yeah, I believe so.
You know what we say about billionaires. You don't get a billionaire. You don't get or become a billionaire by being
Right.
sweet.
Right.
So I personally feel like, I don't want to say she has some skeletons in her closet, but the girl has definitely been around and seen and done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I said, not fear is not the right word, but my worry is that if something ever comes down or comes out about her, I'm not saying like horrible, horrible, but like, or nefarious or anything, but like, that comes out that's not squeaky clean, that the tide might turn a little bit on
Yeah.
her. So like, here she is, you've got 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, preteens, and now you've got these millennial ladies who are Taylor's age, who grew up with her and are now grown as well, all listening to her album. this album is not quite so nice as some of her bubblegum pop stuff that she's done in the
Right.
past. To me, a lot of these songs won't get radio play because they're not very radio friendly, not just because of the language, and she does have an explicit, label on this album.
Really?
Yeah. Um not just because of that, but because it just doesn't have a poppy sound. A lot of the songs are very like kind of. Have you listened to any of them? Heard
No.
any of them? They're very, to me, like I think I said in a previous podcast. I cannot believe we are taking another podcast talking about Taylor Swift. However, I think I've said in a previous podcast, to me, a lot of her songs aren't radio type of songs. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she has had several hits that have been out that have definitely made radio play, but a lot of them to me are not. They're not like made for radio type of songs. And to me, there's a lot on this album that are not like radio type of songs. They're not poppy. They're very kind
Yeah.
of like, they're kind of not eerie sounding, but very like,
Dark.
not dark, but like kind of like they mystic, like the soundism is almost like, I tell my girls that I don't like 70s music. I don't like 70s music because
If
it
my
makes me
friends
feel
remember, like they're trying to put you in a trance.
yes, I feel like creepy. I feel like they make me feel creepy, like they're trying to like. It makes me think of like um psychedelic and like um culty and like that synthesizer sound and
Yeah.
like I don't. It makes me eerie. It makes my like the hair stand up on my arms. I don't like it.
Listen, it's so
It
funny because so in the office, right? Well, there's this huge TV, and we have usually we'll turn on the music channel, and it's the genres, right? Not until you said that, and I mean, I'm familiar with some 70s songs and things like that, but I've never paid
thought of it
enough
that way.
attention to them or thought of it that way. Beth, I kid you not. One day they put it on the 70s because like I said, it's a genre. Like you got
Right.
the hip hop, rap, 80s, 90s,
Right.
2000s. They put it on the 70s. I was up there, and usually I tone the music out anyway. Like when I'm working, and really in the zone, I don't even really notice it. But I kid you not, there were a few songs that they played back to back where I like stopped. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I got what you were talking about, and so of course, I had to relay what you said, and we were
Yeah.
cracking up because I'm like, "Oh!" Like I hear it. It was like
Even
that.
like the funk songs, like the soulful R&B, even some of them, I just don't. I don't like it. It makes me feel like somebody's about to get murdered. I know that sounds so weird. I don't like. I think of serial killers. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, it was good, like, and it was only because it was the songs that played back to back that I noticed. Like I find it like, and listen, it took me out of my zone
Yes.
to where I noticed it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can see what she meant by like it's trying to like put you.
Lull you into like a yeah. Don't Not a fan. Not a
I
fan
was
of
like,
that
we got to change
of
that.
that
We got to
year of
change
the
that.
genre. Don't Not my favorite. But some of her songs are kind of, I don't want to say to that extent, but they're kind of that, they kind of have that feel to me. So to me,
Yeah,
those aren't like radio type songs.
yeah,
So my thing is that so now she's releasing these songs with all of these explicit lyrics, are as far as like using bad language, and so now I'm wondering these ladies, the quint, in my mind I have a picture. Oh, Lord. I have the picture of what a quintessential like Swiftie looks like.
okay,
I'm gonna leave it at that.
okay.
And that lady in the car now with her daughter, who is 10, can't sing these songs with her. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So
yeah,
I'm not that they'll ever get mad at Taylor, because I feel like Swifties are Swifties, like tried and true and die hard. But now her music might not be as like
family
friendly,
friendly.
right? But I think that this is really who, I think that's who she really is. I think that this like pretty blonde haired, red lipped, blue eyed, all American girl is like one side of her is part of her persona, but I mean, she's a billionaire, and like I said, and we all know how smart that she is, and and if she's not smart about something, I feel like she surrounds herself with people who are. You
Right.
don't get to be a billionaire by not. And
Right.
so I'm just like, I'm not calling for the tide to turn on her. I'm just wondering, like, when you
When's that
idolize
ball gonna
somebody
drop?
so much, at some point they can't live up to it.
Yeah.
So that's all.
And
I just wonder
and
sometimes.
unfortunately, like, that pattern has been seen before. I feel like it's just the natural thing. Just like if within a household, if you try to shelter or mold a child to be a specific way, at some point that mold's going to break and it's going to get out of hand. You know what I mean? And like I said, I feel like that's what happened. Like even with Miley, Miley Cyrus was molded to be this sweet country girl, like, with the twang, and then she went the total opposite way, swinging on wrecking balls and
Right. To us,
starting
Miley Cyrus was Hannah Montana. So
right.
then when she actually became Miley Cyrus, we was like, who
Who,
is this? Who is
what is she on? Right. You know what I mean? And
right
that could have just been her all along. It's just that she had to fit that
mold?
mold, just how Pink started out. We
We
talked
talked
about
about
that
we talked about
before.
these industry plants and things like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And how they're set up. And so I feel like, and just like with Miley, because I feel like, Miley played that role for a while, and then when she got big enough to
Till
really
she
break out
couldn't
on
do it
her own.
anymore. Till
Right.
she felt like she was being not truthful to who she was, and so it made her like,
That's what we call the
ah,
bump it stage. Like, bump y'all, I'm gonna
right,
do what I,
what
because
I
now
want to
now
do.
I've come this far. You know what I mean? And so like you said, for those, and again, to emphasize, not to wish any demise or, like, see her downfall or anything like that, but say those who aren't Swifties like that, I feel like we have a different view from the outside. So it's like we are kind of watching and be like, now listen, now you you didn't got up here, where you going with it? You know what I mean? Like you said, I feel like Swifties, or those who really just are enamored with her, are going to follow her through and through, maybe don't notice it as much as a person who doesn't follow her like that would. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, I feel like nothing that she can do nothing wrong in their eyes.
Right,
And
right
that to me is
now
where you
in
get in trouble, because when something does happen, you're
ex-
skewed and you're like, yeah,
exactly, because right now they're still keeping her in the safe zone of, oh, she's just so what, that's her, like, they're loving it. Like I said, don't let that and a combo of a skeleton from the closet or something else be combined with it, then everybody's gonna be shocked. Whereas those who just in observation could be like, no, we kind of seen that coming. Like, you know what I
so
mean? It was only a matter of time, but
I
we'll
I don't
see.
want to. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Were you done? I'm sorry.
No, no, yeah, I was just saying, we'll see. We'll see.
I don't want to know this, but and I do, and I'm gonna speak on this. And like I said, I can't believe that we're there's. I'm sure there's some other things that we could
It's
be
the
talking
last episode. We're going out with a bang. Go ahead.
about. I'm just saying.
But I'm saying.
T Swift, right? I ain't saying, but I'm saying, right. Um, so apparently, a lot of these songs on this album are about a guy that she had dated from the 1975 Maddie Healy. Are you familiar with the 1975?
Vaguely.
They did that song called Chocolate.
Hmm.
That to me is their most noticeable song that maybe somebody who's not familiar with them would know. You
Okay.
probably know the song. Anyway, he's an interesting fellow.
Okay.
He can be problematic. He can say things that in this day and age, in this climate, that you shouldn't say because you'll get canceled.
Okay.
And he just is kind of a little bit unhinged. And I remember when it started coming out, like they were being seen together and he was showing up at her shows and things like that. If I'm not mistaken, it wasn't a good look for Taylor, because he does not fit the image that she has.
Okay.
Okay. So if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sorry if we have any Swifties out there that are listening and I am speaking out of turn, I'm not meaning to. I'm just saying what I've heard and what I know. So apparently, a lot of the Swifties did not believe that they were really together because he didn't fit the type of person that her caliber should be with.
Okay.
Okay. But lo and behold, so it took a minute, I think, for several Swifties to even like acknowledge or, admit that they really
Come to
had
terms with.
something that, right, they had something going. Because, like I said, because he was kind of problematic.
Okay.
And so then when there was no choice but to admit it because it was kind of somewhat obvious if they weren't together, there's something going on. They kind of just like downplayed it and like, they didn't really care for him with her or her with him, but whatever. We're not going to talk about it. Well, they have since, of course, broken up.
Mm-hmm.
And, we don't know why that I am aware of. But apparently, a lot of the songs on these two albums are about him.
Okay.
And right before she released this album, when she, I guess, was announcing it was going to be released, he was in concert. And apparently, like I said, he's a little bit of a hot mess. And
Okay.
he was on stage. And apparently, between songs and when he was talking to the audience and stuff, he addressed somebody. He didn't say a name, but said they know who they are, and said, "Don't come for me, because if you think I'm mental, I'll show you mental,
Mm.
and I have receipts. You don't want to come for me."
Mm.
So, of course, the talk is that he is referring to
Miss
her
Swift.
because her MO is that she goes after people that she's been with that she feels has wronged her. And
Now,
her lyrics and her songs, she's always, and they talk about these Easter eggs, she's always has these double entendres when she's talking about
right.
certain things. They're always two-sided and have double meanings and things like that. But so that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that a nice girl can't choose poorly.
Right.
Shout out. Um, a nice girl can't choose poorly, or you can't, like, necessarily be mismatched. But the fact that he was like, "Don't come for me, I have receipts."
Mm.
I don't know. He could be talking outside of his neck, but at the same time, like I said, she might not be as innocent as
Mm. And to catch up those some of our friends, when we're talking when someone says I have receipts, basically it's I have proof on something. So to be like, oh, I got the receipts, I have the proof. So by him saying this, if it were towards Miss Swift, he's saying he got proof or evidence of maybe something
backing
that,
up what he's saying.
right, his side of the story, which usually, and people who say they have receipts
Usually have receipts.
usually have receipts. They
And I
really
and
do.
and I think that, and I like I said, I don't know. I don't want to put this out there because like I said, I don't know. But when I hear his name, I hear about like substances and things. So he's a little bit, like I said, he's somebody who's a little bit kind of.
Now, is this the same album? Because I seen, is this the same album that's supposed to have the Kim Kardashian diss track on it and everyone's going after her, like all the Swifties are leaving mean
Yes.
comments?
Once again, I don't like that I know this, but apparently Taylor's MO, for somebody who does not, I seem to know a whole lot. I mean, right? But apparently she is the queen of making you think that she is referring to something when she's referring to something else. So she's saying, "Hey, look over there to the right. What's up in the sky?" When really what she's doing is over here to the left. You know what I mean? So it's to kind of throw
Huh.
you off. So from what I understand, what the talk is now is that that album talking about "Thank You, Amy," and in that title, she has the K, the I, and the M capitalized and spelled Kim, to make people think that maybe she's referring to Kim Kardashian, but it's really supposedly supposed to be about somebody else, and they are assuming or saying that maybe it's about a one-time friend named, like, that model Carly Kloss. I don't know enough about any of these to know anything. So,
But
but
yet you got all the info.
I don't know. I know,
Because
right?
I'm trying. No, say
Because
it again. Spell it
I'm an
again. It
entertainment
said
reporter
thank
on the
you.
side, huh?
Hold on. It said thank you, Amy.
Amy,
But
the K and the I and the M, and thank you, Amy. Amy is spelled AIMEE.
oh, I was about to say, where the heck is the I at? Because I'm up here. I'm like, what in the world? Like, I can't. Oh, okay. Amy with a okay. AIM.
M.
So the
The
K
K for thank.
and the I and the M and the Amy.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's
What's
really
that
supposed
about?
to be about somebody else and about that friendship, because I guess her and that model chick were friends, and then they kind of had a falling out. They were like, you know what? One thing that kind of a pet peeve of mine is when somebody says, like, "Oh, that's my best friend." People use the term best friend very loosely. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Yeah.
and to me, I don't, like, you can say I have several best friends, or really close friends, or whatever the case may be, but it's like every time I turn around, they'll be like, "Oh, that's her best friend, that's her BFF, that's her BFF." She can't have 17 I personally feel like you can't have 17 BFFs. Sometimes but when she's hanging out with certain, it was like, but what happened was, like, she would hang out around a certain person all the time, and then that person is no longer around her, but then this person is around her, and that's her BFF. So I to me, they use the term very loosely.
Right.
But they used to be close, and then apparently there was some kind of a falling out, and then now they're not friends anymore.
And was the model's name Kim?
Carly Kloss, not at all Kim. That's what I'm
So
saying. It's a
why is
distraction
KIM
to make you
right?
think that it's about Kim, but it's not about Kim. It's about somebody else, because
Huh.
that's how Taylor Swift thinks. That's, yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Well, we'll
Well,
just have to see.
look at that. Yeah.
But we've discussed, listen,
I'm
everything
sorry. I'm
from
sorry,
the
everybody, because if you're not into Taylor Swift at all, and this is like, what if people find this very, like, not entertaining, talking about that kind of stuff? They want to hear more about, I don't know.
about what? It's doodle,
Nothing.
baby.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
No, all I was gonna say was, we've covered a lot of different topics
I
in
didn't.
the span of our podcasting for this
Yeah,
first
can I say
season.
something real quick? And this is,
Y-
I don't even know why I'm saying this, because we don't have time to go into it. But the lab that I worked at,
Yeah.
I've been in contact with some of the people since we've stopped working there.
Oh well, you got to spill the tea. Hold on.
No,
It's
I
doodle,
can't. I
baby.
can't. We ain't got. But
Yes, go ahead.
since
It's our
then,
last episode. We getting everything in.
two of the ladies that I work with have called me and
Yeah.
told me they have gotten phone calls from FBI agents about somebody that works there, that worked
What
there.
is it? You have a
No, why would it be about
oh
me? Why would they have
charoncha.
calls
I don't
about
know. You be on
me?
Duolingo. I don't know. I don't know your movements. If that's your real name.
No, about one of the scientists.
Oh Lord, from the FBI. The FBI don't
FBI
play.
calling them.
You got there out
Apparently,
of there in a nick of time.
listen, apparently about him stealing trade secrets.
Oh, what?
Girl, I don't know. We'll have to maybe address it. Maybe more will have come out since then. But I have not gotten a phone call from the FBI. But two ladies both called me and say, "Hey, have you gotten a phone call from the FBI? Called me about so and so and such and such."
Are they sure it's from the FBI though, and they're not being spammed and
No, well,
by
the
this?
fact that it's two of these ladies and they were asking specifically about the same person and
Mm.
about trade secrets.
Oh
And
Lord.
the one lady that told me said that they called her and she was like, I'm not, they asked her to give them a call back. And she's like, I'm not calling them back. And then one day she was driving and the phone rang and she said she wasn't even thinking and she answered it. And it was from a number she didn't know. And she said she typically doesn't answer numbers that she doesn't know.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it was the FBI agent.
Mm. Mm-mm. Oh,
Right?
Beth, you got out of there in the nick of time, buddy. I ain't gonna lie. Like, you got to keep us updated if they call
If
you.
something else happens, I will definitely let you know. But yeah, I thought that was crazy. I
Oh,
was like,
shuck it, duck
what?
it, quack,
The
quack.
first lady called me and I was like, no, like, oh my gosh. First she texted me and I was like, what?
Listen, first of all, don't text nobody. Oh, Lord, she's caught. Go
And
ahead.
then the second lady called me like several weeks later, like weeks in between.
Oh, wow. Oh, they going down the list. Did you
Right?
put down Elizabeth for your
I don't,
resume
I
name?
don't answer my phone. I do
Listen,
not answer my
did you
phone.
did you put down Elizabeth for your
Uh-uh.
resume name?
I put down Bethel. Bethel. I don't if I don't recognize the number, then you
My
have the
name.
opportunity to leave me a message. And if you don't feel that it is important to leave me a message, then I am not calling you back. And even if you leave me a message, probability is that I am not calling you back.
My name is Bethel Moore Acreage. Uh
Right? Uh
Lord have mercy. Oh, Beth. That's deep.
I know, right?
Trade secrets.
Whew.
That's heavy.
Did you see when I first started there? I talked to one of the guys I worked with about because it was a startup and it was about all this stuff. There was a story about Theranos and this woman Elizabeth Holmes. I don't know if you remember that about her trying to sell this. I was all into that. Trying to sell. She had a startup company and she was trying to sell this machine that was going to take your blood with just one prick. But it turns out that was never going to happen. And
Why?
investors had told her that it could not be done, that what she was trying to make, what she was trying to sell could not happen. Physicians told her, doctors told her, scientists told her, but she was positive that she could invent a machine that with one prick, like when you go to take your, like, you know, when you go to
Test your
test your
sugar?
blood for diabetes, right? With
Yeah.
one prick, one little droplet of blood, that you could run all of these blood tests. Like typically when you go to the doctor and you need to get blood drawn for blood work, they're
Oh.
taking like vials of blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
She was saying that with one prick and one drop of blood, all of these tests could be run. What's so funny?
Because this whole time I'm thinking, well, why couldn't that be possible? Because I'm thinking you meant a machine just for testing your blood sugar. This heifer talking about
No, she's talking about
check.
all kinds of tests for blood like that can detect cancer, or and for people who don't like needles, this would be a
Oh,
breakthrough because they wouldn't have to be scared about about getting their blood their finger pricked or getting the blood taken or things like that. And the whole time people were telling her it can't be done with a drop. One
right.
drop of blood is not enough. And she was like, yes, it can be. And she created this whole, she had all these, I mean, huge investors. She built this big, huge complex out in, I want to say in, oh shoot, where in California do they have everything?
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley. Like in
That's what I just
Silicon
said,
Valley.
heifer.
Oh, is that what you said? I'm sorry. Um, for some reason, it sounded like you said WrestleMania, but anyway, in Silicon.
I cannot.
Anyway, I don't know why I heard WrestleMania. Anyway, Silicon Valley, and and she did all this stuff. She had parts of her. She had parts of her staff working in certain parts of the building where you could not, they call it like they were like silos, work silos, where if you worked in
Yeah.
one part of the building you could not go into the other part of the building, because in this other part of the building she was claiming they were doing things like running these tests, but they weren't, and the testing wasn't working and it was failing, but she didn't want the other people who worked for her to know that. And so she had created all these silos. You couldn't get caught talking to someone else or who worked in the same company as you did. It was just craziness. But so when I first got this job there, one of the guys that I interviewed with, um, we were talking about it. We had both watched the documentary, and the show had come out about it and everything. And I had listened to the audiobook and all this stuff. And we were, And
Yeah.
so we were talking about this and how crazy it was. And we were like, because, so it makes you a little bit nervous when you are
Joining a
working for a
startup.
startup, because you don't know, you know what I mean? It's an idea and you're hoping that it's going to turn out and pan out and things are going to work and it sounds great. And the people who are, creating these things are supposed to be these smart people. So when that's not your expertise, you're like, well, who am I to say that it can't work or whatever the case may be? So we talked about all of that. And then lo and behold, here we are. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying, I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
I'm not saying.
But I'm saying, right, we did all of that. And lo and behold, here. So now one of the guys is supposedly destroyed some information on one of the computers and took a backup drive of it though before he destroyed the information, and has stolen these trade secrets. And the thing that's crazy about it is that our office manager or whatever her name was, Debbie, who was nuts, they were so afraid of China. I'm sorry, this is too late in the podcast to start talking about this.
Listen, all I want to know is, who do you think's going to play you in the movie?
That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's crazy. Now all this crap is coming out. She locked everything down. She had backup drives that she locked in a vault along with computers and all these formulas and blah, blah, blah. She did all this because they were afraid of the Chinese stealing their secrets, because I guess the Chinese at one point before had stolen formulas from our founder once before.
Now you're talking about your job. Oh, but how are you going to share this on the last episode?
And now somebody internally, they are suspecting of doing exactly what they were afraid the Chinese was going to do, to the point of that we had people come in applying for jobs, and if they were Chinese, he would not hire them because he was so paranoid that they were. So everybody, thanks so much for tuning in for season 1 of I Ain't Saying.
But I'm saying. All I'm saying is y'all better come back for season 2, because we gonna have a follow. If it's not made into a movie before we start the season 2 podcast. Beth, who you think gonna play you?
Oprah Winfrey.
Only because what, Beth?
Somebody told me I look like Oprah Winfrey before.
You look nothing like Oprah Winfrey. No, I'm not Oprah Winfrey. Did somebody tell you look like Michelle Obama?
That too. Any black middle-aged woman, just throw her. Whoopi Goldberg. Well, I don't know.
And this is why Beth has not posted a picture of herself on our Instagram page. Which, if you haven't started following, we need to interact. But listen, that's what we can do. We can make it a goal to do a lot more on the Instagram page while we're on our.
Take a poll. Who does Beth most look like? Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, or Whoopi Goldberg?
I can't with you. Oh my God. But it's been fun. Like I said, I'm proud of us for even sticking with it, to complete a whole season, to have fun doing what we just naturally do.
And to have people actually listen and follow and ask questions and interact a little bit and wait for the next episodes and like that, whatever.
Huh? That in itself was pretty awesome. And
right.
I don't know. We don't have a big following, but like the fact that we have people interested.
Girl, 10 people to me, 10 people like caring at all, or being interested.
Yeah. And like you
Right.
said, or if at any point you smiled and laughed, like that's what we that was our goal. And so with season two, it's going to be the same thing, but we're going to try to go a little bit further and like really, get out there. And I know that just to give y'all a sneak peek of, we're going to do some interviews, have some guests in season two. We really just needed season one to give us the experience of doing this and doing it ourselves and getting through that learning
I mean,
experience.
if you think back to our first episode, Dawn,
Yeah.
like where we got cut off
Where
because I was
it
trying to pull
stopped
up Candy Crush.
during the
I mean, you know what? I mean, like, for real, for real.
Yes, I feel like we've come a long way.
We
It
got a lot
just
to learn, but
yeah,
still,
but
but the
it's
whole
been
point was
fun.
just to start it to see if we could even start it, and we
Yes.
started it. So goal accomplished. It was started.
Boom. Boom. There you have it, folks. So we're going to wrap this last episode of season one up to with again some thank yous for making it this far with us. And we ask that we're not going to be gone for too long. Just we treat it like how the TV shows. There's a season break, so that's all we're doing, just to give ourselves a little rest because aside from hiatuses and life happening, we've earned it. We've like I said, we've completed a full season. So give a little break, come back with some new materials and new topics. I'm sure Taylor Swift's still gonna be one of them because it's just
I
fun.
vow to not in season
No,
two.
you can't. It's fun. It's
Vow.
so fun. And then talk about more. We're gonna get into some more like celebrities and have Beth look into their social security numbers and everything
What?
else, their background to give y'all. Listen, we may even come back and have more info about Brittany and Abby because we still got questions.
Questions.
But Beth,
So
hey,
thank you. And this
buddy.
episode was a little bit longer, a little bit extended. So
But it,
as we close it out, and then,
yeah,
like you said, hopefully we won't be gone too long.
at
Um,
all, at all,
it will, and when we start, we'll still keep up on our Instagram page,
most
um,
definitely.
staying, well, I can't think of words anymore, but staying active on that page so that we can still be in communication, and we will let you know when our next episode is going to come out.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll drop the date on you guys. We won't just spring it. And like I said, if this is your first time or even not your first time, but you just recently joined, this is our 20th episode. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to the other episodes, now is a good time to do it to catch up on what we're all about and all the shenanigans and all the laughs, as I say. And until we see y'all again, I ain't saying
But I'm saying,
we out.
bye.